If there's one category of anime that has definitely blown up, it has to be isekais. Because when you really think about it, action, romance, thriller, comedy, these are all things that we can get from Hollywood movies. But isekai seems to be the most present from our amazing friends in Japan. If you don't know what isekai means, it basically means transported into another world. It is usually inspired by MMORPGs and fantasy worlds. I'm Patrick from WeebTV, and on today's list we are going to count down our top 10 isekais animes that are definitely worth watching. So without further ado, let's start the list.
Starting the list at number 10 we have I Am Standing on Million Lives. Yotsuka has always disliked Tokyo, but especially hates the people who live in it. He would rather thrive in a virtual world than try to get along with those around him. At the end of one of a school day, he sees the popular athlete Shinru talking to Kozaki, who spends less time in school due to her illness. Mere moments later, Yotsuya enters a state of freefall and the world begins to change around him. Dropping into a large pool of water, the first thing he sees when he comes to his senses is an assortment of enormous monsters. He soon finds out that he has been brought into a game world by Shinru and Okazaki, and that he must complete a quest within 14 days. There is one thing that separates this world from the real world. Anyone who dies will be brought back to life in 30 seconds, as long as one of the party members is still alive. Tasked with a number of quests that increase in difficulty over time, Yotsuya, Shinru and Okazaki attempt to discover the mystery behind the game world. Following that, at number 9 we have Drugstore in Another World. The slow life of cheat pharmacist Reiji Kiryu, formerly a corporate slave, one day wakes up in another world. After discovering that he has gained superhuman pharmaceutical knowledge, he decides to open up a drugstore, alongside the canine Nora and the ghostly Mina. There, he tends to the needs of all who visit the shop, with potions and the like. At number 8 we have How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. When it comes to the fantasy MMORPG Cross Ravine, none can match the power of the Demon King Diablo. Possessing the game's rarest artifacts and an unrivaled player level, he overpowers all foolish enough to confront him. But despite his fearsome reputation, Diablo's true identity is Takoto Sakamoto, a shut-in gamer devoid of any social skills. Defeating hopeless challengers day by day, Takuma cares about nothing else but his virtual life. That is until a summoning spell suddenly transports him to another world where he has Diablo's appearance. In this new world, resembling his favorite game, Takuma is greeted by the two girls who summoned him. Ram, a petite pantheria adventurer, and Shira, a busty elf summoner. With the situation now becoming more awkward than ever, Takuma decides to accompany the girls in finding a way to unbind their contract, while learning to adapt to his new existence as the Demon King. Next one on our list at number 7 is The Master of Ragnarok. Some urban legends are best left untested. Yuto gets more than he bargained for when he joins his childhood friend Mitsuki in testing out an urban legend. When he uses his phone to take a picture of himself with the local shrine's divine mirror, he is whisked off into another world, one heavily steeped in the lore of the Norse myth. Using his knowledge gained from the school and from his solar-powered smartphone, he has the chance to bring the Wolf Crown, the same people who cared for him, to prominence. All while earning the adoration of a group of magic-wielding warrior maidens. The next one on our list, at number 6 we have Problem Children Are Coming Down from Another World, aren't they? Izoi Sakamaki, Asuka Kodu and Yoka Subane are extraordinary teenagers who are blessed with special powers, but they are completely fed up with their mundane lives. Until one day, each of them receives an envelope containing an invitation to a mysterious place known as Little Garden. Dropped into a vast new world, the trio is greeted by Kurosaki, who explains that they have been given a once-in-a-lifetime chance to participate in special high-stakes game using their abilities. In order to take part, however, they must first join a community. Learning that Kurosaki's community, No Names, has lost its official status and bountiful lands due to the defeat at the hands of the Demon Lord, the group sets off to reclaim their new home's dignity, eager to protect its residents and explore the excitement that Little Garden has to offer. At number 5 we have Isekai Cheat Magician. Regular high schooler Taichi Nishimura and his childhood friend Rin Azuma are on the way to school one ordinary morning. Suddenly, a glowing light envelops them, transporting them to a fantasy world full of magical creatures. Upon their arrival, Taichi and Rin are threatened by a beast. They are promptly saved by a group of adventurers who advise the pair that traveling unarmed and inexperienced makes them vulnerable to the recently increasing monster attack. Taichi and Rin are directed to the guild where they can determine their magical power and register as adventurers. However, the test they take reveals an unprecedented result. Taichi and Rin possess extraordinary powers that far surpass the standard mage, instantly transporting them from typical high school students to the ultimate cheat magicians. Taichi and Rin learn to grasp the full extent of their powers and familiarize themselves with the new world. However, while the duo seeks to uncover the reason behind their transportation and a possible way to their original world, an unexpected trouble lurks in the shadows. At number 4 we have Arifuretta from Commonplace to World's Strongest. The ordinary life of a 17-year-old otaku Hajime Nagumo is disrupted when he and his classmates are summoned to a fantasy world and tasked with saving mankind. While his classmates are gifted with impressive abilities useful in combat, Hajime is belittled for only gaining an inferior transmutation skill that lacks any real offensive power. During an expedition of the Great Orcus Labyrinth, Hajime is betrayed by one of his classmates, plummeting him to the bottom of an abyss. Though he survives the fall, Hajime is faced with menacing monsters and misfortunes that set him spiraling into a grim nightmare. Desperate to live and return home one day, he resolves to fight for his survival, only to meet an imprisoned vampire named Yui, who is also seeking to escape the labyrinth. Taking an interest in him, Yui and a few others along the way accompany Hajime on his journey to find a way back home, while steadily transferring him from commonplace to the world's strongest. At number 3 we have the world's finest assassin gets reincarnated in another world as an aristocrat. The world's greatest assassin had sworn lifelong allegiance to the organization that raised him. However, despite his loyalty, that very same organization takes action to silence him, ultimately leading to his demise. Drowning in frustration and regrets he can no longer suppress, he finds himself in an audience with a goddess attracted by his incredible skills. The goddess offers him reincarnation into a magnificent world of swords and magic so he can perform a crucial mission: prevent that world's destruction by slaying its hero. Accepting the goddess' request, he is reborn as Luke Tuade, the son of a noble family of assassins serving the Elven Kingdom. Under the guidance of his father, Lu learns new assassination techniques that significantly differ from the cold-blooded killing style of his previous life. Furthermore, his other talent bloom, allowing him to meet new allies and acquaintances. Even so, Lu knows that his efforts are far from adequate, because a monumental adversary, such as a hero, can only be defeated with perfection. At number 2 on our list we have Drifters. At the Battle of Shigahara in 1600s, Toyohisa Shimazu is a rearguard for his retreating troops, and he is critically wounded when he suddenly finds himself in a modern, gleaming white hallway. Faced with only a stoic man named Murasaki and hundreds of doors on both sides, Toyohisa is pulled into the nearest door and into a world completely unlike his own. The strange land is populated by all manners of fantastical creatures, as well as warriors from different areas of Toyohisa's world who were thought to be dead. Quickly befriending the infamous warlord Nobunaga Oda and the ancient archer Yoshisuke Takanasu, Toyohisa learns about the political unrest tearing through the continent. Furthermore, they have been summoned as drifters to fight against the Ents, people who are responsible for the creation of the Orton Empire and who are trying to annihilate the drifters as the Ents grow more powerful. So does the Empire's persecution of elves and other demi-humans. It is up to Toyohisa and his group of heroes to battle in a brand new world war to help the Empire's subjects, while protecting the lands to claim for themselves and challenging the Ents. And last but not least on our list we have the Ambition of Oda Nobunaga. High school student Yoshiharu Sagara wakes up and finds himself in the middle of the raging Sengoku period battle. He is saved by the legendary Hideyoshi Toyomi, but at the cost of the hero's life. With his dying breath, the warrior pleads for Yoshiharu to become a feudal lord in his place. Now that the course of history has been changed, Yoshiharu pledges to keep the timeline from diverging any further. Yet, after rescuing Nobuna's Oda, whom he discovers is actually the fabled Nobuna's Oda female counterpart, Yoshiharu realizes he has been transported to an alternate reality where most of Japan's historical warlords are now cute girls. To set things right and find a way back home, Yoshiharu agrees to become one of Nobuna's retainers and assist her in a conquest of Japan. As Nobuna initiates her campaign, Yoshiharu discovers that the history he learned from playing the video game Nobuna's Ambitions allows him to predict future events and turn the tide of the war. Using this gift to aid the Oda's clan beautiful generals, Yoshiharu hopes to help his new lord fulfill her dream and to win the hearts of women everywhere.
So that was the list for today. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, also subscribe to the channel. You can also put your favorite isekai in the comment section down below. I am very curious if you prefer the more mainstream isekais or the less known. Stay tuned for the next week's video where I will show you the top 10 romance anime. I don't want to waste any more of your time, so that was it for today. See you next time. Bye bye.